Good evening, families and Year 10 students. Thank you for joining us at this Stage 6 course selection launch for the 2027 HSC. This evening takes place against the backdrop of our Year 10 students having just completed the Right Journey homecoming at the end of last term. Students have received their Semester 1 reports, and for some students, this will be their last semester before they join the workforce. Tonight is part of a larger conversation that has begun with study skills evenings, elective nights and information nights. It is a conversation that will lead for the majority of our students, God willing, for them walking across the graduation stage in 2 years' time. The purpose of tonight is to guide your decisions about making choices for the future. Let's begin with an overview of tonight's sessions. Mr. Brennan will begin this evening with his principal's address. Ms. Morrison will place course selection within the context of teaching and learning. Mr. Duggan will consider making good choices and decisions about the different patterns of study. Mr. Bullock will provide insights into achieving an ATAR and going to university, and Mr. Profilio will explore different career options. I will finish the night by detailing the key events in course selection and looking at the rules and recommendations. Before we begin, please be aware that students will need to register their attendance with the QR code on the last slides of tonight's presentation. Also, the next step of course selection will take place next week with our Course Expo. This will kick off at 6:30 p.m. in the Brother Luke Hall. Finally, if you have not had the chance yet, it is a great idea to access our course selection website. This site has all the information students will need to make a successful transition. Now, before Mr. Brennan delivers his principal's address, 2 of our Year 10 students will take a moment to acknowledge country and offer a prayer.
Let us begin by acknowledging the traditional custodians of this land, Dharawal people, and pay our respects to their ancestors and elders, past and present. We extend this acknowledgement and respect to all Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander people here today, and your continuing connections to the lands, waters, and communities. We respect the oldest continuous living culture. We are grateful to live, work, and learn on Dharawal country, and we are committed to strengthening our understanding of Aboriginal history, culture, and perspectives.
The Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Loving God, may the faith you have given us in your Son, Jesus Christ, and the flame of charity ignited in our hearts by the Holy Spirit, reawaken in us the blessed hope for the coming of your kingdom. May your grace transform us as we seek your divine guidance and wisdom on our educational journey. Grant us the insight and understanding needed to navigate the opportunities of our study. Saint Marcel and Saint Gregory, Saint Mary, our good mother, and let us always remember. In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Good evening to parents and carers and our graduating class of 2027. Welcome to our Year 11 2026 subject selection night. Certainly a critical time in your sons and your lives as you start to navigate where your son would like to be post-school. I'd like to thank all of the staff involved for this evening's presentation, led by Mr. Rick Bombarderi, for all of the work they've done and will continue to do to assist your sons in making the right choices. Certainly in 2026, or to be fair, as early as 2024, we started to look at our Year 11 subject selection processes with a look at streamlining the processes to make sure that the information and the advice given to your sons was both consistent and relevant. So we've certainly streamlined the number of people that will be working directly with you and your sons in order to make those choices. Another important thing that we have done, we've had a look at clear patterns of study. So we're looking at the HSC Plus, which is more the non-academic pathway involving VOC education and non-ATAR courses, and then purely an ATAR stream as well, where we're looking at those who are looking at post-study, in particular university and tertiary level. So we do ask that you work very hard with the school and you do take the advice of the school. Certainly there is decades of experience when we are providing this advice, and as I've mentioned, we've streamlined the process to make sure that the advice is more consistent. Our goal is to make your sons to be a successful graduate in 2027, and one where they will have 2 years of great excitement, great joy and great success. Part of our strategic plan, one of our major priorities over the next few years, is actually having a look at improving student outcomes and creating a culture of excellence. And a key to that is having senior students who are in courses that they can do and succeed very well in. And so I'd encourage, as I've said a few times now, that you do really work closely with your teachers. Don't pick a subject because your friends are doing it. Don't pick a subject because you think you need it to go on to the next stage of your journey in life. Certainly there are many different pathways to the end game at the end of Year 12. And it's important that you don't lock yourself into a course or a pattern of study that will see you be non-successful. So again, it's important that you do have a lot of dialogue with the key people in our school and in consultation with your parents. I still go back to the adage of pick what you like and pick what you're good at, but I also really encourage you to be realistic in your aims and your pursuits. So again, thank you for being part of the journey and the process this evening. You will be getting a lot of information from a lot of people, but the importance is that we have recorded this. You will be able to go back and watch it numerous times if you are unsure, and certainly a phone call to the college would be welcomed if you would like anything else clarified. So again, I'd ask you to listen to those involved. I thank you for your participation and your interest in your sons, and I certainly look forward to celebrating the centenary with your boys in Year 11 and then watching them have a very successful 2027, and it all begins with their subject selections, which the process has begun tonight. Have a great rest of your evening.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for being here tonight, albeit remotely. My name is Judith Morrison, and my role here at the college is Director of Teaching and Learning. Tonight is an important night as it is the first stage in planning your son's senior years here at St Gregory's College, and hence our aim is to help your son begin thinking strategically and positively about their future. This evening is an opportunity to pause and reflect on what's ahead. It's a chance for students to start imagining their futures, families to have meaningful conversations about what are the next steps, to consider what options lie ahead, and to start making informed and thoughtful decisions. It is also worth remembering that the end of Year 10 also marks the end of compulsory schooling in New South Wales. From this point on, education is about preparing for life beyond school, whether that be university, TAFE, apprenticeships, or employment. There are 3 distinct possibilities for our young men after Year 10. Some may finish formal schooling at the end of this year. Many will continue into Year 11 and 12. This may be through an ATAR pathway aimed at university entry, or a HSC Plus pathway, which combines school-based learning with vocational or workplace training. Whichever path is chosen, it is important to understand that it will involve more independence, increased expectations, and new learning opportunities. Year 11 is a big step up, but it is also a rewarding one. The world our students are stepping into is rapidly evolving. Gone are the days of a job for life. The next generation will likely have multiple careers across very different industries. They'll need to adapt, retrain, and continually grow, not just once, but throughout their lives. Our responsibility is to help them build the confidence, mindset, and skills needed to navigate the future with agility and purpose. So, what does the future workforce demand? More than just knowledge, employers are looking for people who can solve problems, manage themselves and their time effectively, collaborate effectively with others, and use technology fluently. but perhaps most importantly, they'll need to know how to learn. That means being flexible, resilient, and ready to acquire new skills, whether that's on the job, in further study, or in an entirely new industry. Today's workplaces are more skilled than ever. Around 1 in 3 workers now hold a bachelor's degree or higher, and over 70% of jobs require some form of post school qualification. At the same time, there's growing demand in the trades and technical fields, especially in areas like electrical work, plumbing, and carpentry. So, whether your son is aiming for university, TAFE, or an apprenticeship, the message is the same. Qualifications matter, and planning ahead is essential. Continuing into Year 11 opens doors, not just academically, but also personally. It provides access to school based opportunities like leadership, sport, co curricular activities, and service. It enhances career prospects with more pathways into skilled trades, tertiary study, or direct employment. It also leads to the HSC, a credential that's respected and recognised across Australia and beyond. We're very proud to be shaping what we call the St Gregory's Agile Graduate, someone who is adaptable, values driven, and ready to make a difference. Stage 6 learning, Year 11 and 12, is a significant change from Stage 5. Students have more choice than ever, with 37 courses on offer across a wide range of disciplines. Courses are more career focused with clear links to post school options. We emphasise strong relationships and expectations between students and teachers. Our goal is to ensure the right student is in the right course, because when a student is engaged and challenged, their contribution truly matters. Subject selection isn't about choosing what seems easiest or most popular. It's about reflecting on your talents and strengths. What are you good at? Your motivation and interest. What do you enjoy learning? Your future aspirations. What do you want to do beyond school? The best subject choices are ones that align with who you are now and who you hope to become when you complete school. Sometimes students make choices for the wrong reasons. So let's be clear. There are things to avoid when choosing subjects. Do not choose subjects because your friends are doing it. Don't choose subjects because you think it might scale better in the ATAR. And don't choose a subject because you think or believe it will be easy or require less effort. These decisions often lead to disengagement and disappointment. Instead, encourage your son to choose courses that genuinely suit his goals, skills, and interests. In closing, thank you again for taking time to support your son in this important journey. Senior study is not just about exams or results, it's about becoming independent, resilient, and purposeful. We're here to help you make confident, informed decisions, ones that will set your son up for success in Year 11, Year 12, and beyond. Thank you again, and we look forward to partnering with you on the road ahead.
Thank you, Mrs. Morrison. Good evening, parents, carers, and students of Year 10. My name is Glenn Duggan, and I'm the Stage 5 Academic Care Leader here at St Gregory's College. In the next section, I'll be guiding you through the key decisions that our young men must make as they consider the next steps in their journey, whether that be seeking out the HSC, obtaining an ATAR, completing vocational education and training opportunities, or transition to work.
As a Year 10 student, you are probably starting to think about what's next. These questions help frame that decision. Are you thinking about work or training? Or do you see yourself continuing at school? And if so, what do you want to achieve? We will help you answer these questions tonight. You will need to decide whether you're heading towards a ROSA, HSC, or aiming for an ATAR and university entrance. Each of these paths are valid. It's about choosing what suits your skills, interests, and career aspirations. Let me clarify the differences. The ROSA is for those who leave school before the HSC. The HSC is the core senior qualification in New South Wales, and the ATAR is a rank used by universities to select students. Knowing what you want to do post-school helps guide which of these achievements to aim for. If you are planning to leave school before completing the HSC, you will receive a ROSA, the Record of School Achievement. It's essential to have a clear plan, such as employment or training. If this is you, speak to Mr. Newell, myself, or Mr. Profilio early on. The HSC requires passing the minimum standards test, completing all my own work, and studying the required number of units. You'll need at least 12 units in Year 11 and 10 units in Year 12, including at least 6 board-developed courses and English and religion. To be eligible for an ATAR, you must meet all HSC requirements and complete at least 10 units of board-developed courses. It's worth noting you can now qualify with more than one VET course, depending on the course structure. This slide compares 2 broad pathways, the HSC Plus and ATAR. If university isn't your goal, there are fantastic career and training opportunities through practical courses. If university is your goal, then you'll need to select more academic courses that contribute towards your ATAR. The HSC Plus focus is designed for students heading into trades, TAFE, or direct employment. You'll gain valuable skills, complete work placements, and even earn TAFE credentials. These are practical, hands-on subjects that build your employability. We recommend the HSC Plus pathway for students not planning to go to university straight from school. It is also ideal for those students with a grade point average below 2.5 or those interested in school-based apprenticeships. It allows for success through a more applied, vocational model of learning. VET courses are a core part of the HSC Plus pathway. They include subjects such as business services, construction, fitness, hospitality, and primary industries. You'll learn through competencies, gain real-world experience, and only sit HSC exams if needed for your ATAR. For students with university goals, you'll need to choose subjects that align with the ATAR pathway. This includes board-developed courses and higher levels of English and mathematics. It's about developing academic skills and a coherent study plan for your preferred course. These are recommended subject combinations for challenging academic courses. You will notice A and B grades based on your Semester 1 Year 10 results. These recommendations are designed to ensure you are not overwhelmed by workload and have the best chance of success.
Mr. Stephen Bullock, the Stage 6 Academic Care Leader, will now explore ATAR options further.
Thank you, Mr. Duggan, and good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Stephen Bullock, and I'll be your son's academic care leader for his senior years in schooling at St Gregory's. Tonight, it's my job to introduce the ATAR to you, which is otherwise known as the Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, and the implications that the ATAR has on the course choices that you make moving forward. The ATAR, or Australian Tertiary Admissions Rank, is a number between 0 and 99.95 that indicates a student's position relative to all other students in their year group. It is a rank, not a score or percentage, and it's used by universities and other tertiary institutions to help select students for their courses. UAC, who calculates the ATAR, uses the comparison of 70,000 students running the City to Surf. At the finish line, you receive a rank in the HSC race. Not all students receive an ATAR, but of those that do, approximately half will receive an ATAR above 70. The steps on the slide outline the process for ATAR calculation. We do not have time this evening to discuss scaling in detail, however I will outline the basics on the next slide and cover this in our academic care sessions. As you can see, the most important aspect from a student's perspective is to achieve their best in each course in their school-based assessment tasks. These are used to determine the ranks in each course, which are critical for determining the final HSC marks awarded at the end of the Year 12 examinations. It is important to note that not all subjects are created equally. Some subjects scale far better than others when calculating a student's ATAR. As you can see from the graphic, if a student was to achieve an HSC mark of 80 in Standard Mathematics 2, they would expect an ATAR equivalent to approximately 77. However, the same mark in Mathematics Extension 2 would equate to an ATAR of approximately 97. This is not to say that your sons should choose the most difficult courses because they scale more favourably. As mentioned, the ATAR is a rank. So should you be at the bottom end of your course by rank, your ATAR would reflect this. The difference in ATAR is reflective of the difficulty of the course. Furthermore, if you were to receive a mark of 80 in a course, but 40% of the state receives a mark higher than this, your ATAR would be 60, because you have only beaten 60% of the state. Scaling adjusts raw HSC marks to account for differences in subject difficulty and the academic calibre of students taking each course. The goal is to make the ATAR a reliable indicator of a student's overall academic achievement, regardless of the specific subjects they studied. Students should choose subjects they believe they will do best in, according to their own capabilities. In senior schooling, study should be your highest priority. You will find that course content and the speed that we move through it is a lot faster than your junior years. It is essential that you build early study habits to stay on top of coursework, or you will quickly fall behind. The college has high academic standards, and your teachers will hold you to these. In my role as academic care leader, I will also reinforce these through our PC sessions and work with individual students. NESA has minimum requirements that need to be satisfied to progress through the preliminary course, and these expectations will be made clear to students. Course mastery, within the context of learning, refers to a student's deep and thorough understanding of all the concepts and skills within a specific course. It signifies that a learner has achieved a high level of proficiency and can confidently apply their knowledge and skills across various situations related to course content. In essence, it's about achieving a level of expertise where the learner can demonstrate not just a basic understanding, but also a comprehensive grasp of the subject matter. For students to achieve a Band 6 or 90 plus score, they will need to demonstrate this consistently. As previously mentioned, the rank in each course is the most important aspect when determining final HSC marks and ATARs. At the end of Year 12, students sit the HSC examinations and will receive a transcript with 3 marks for each course on it. The first is their own HSC exam mark, how they have performed in their exam. The second is the moderated assessment mark, and the third, and the most important, is their final HSC mark, which will be the average of the 2 prior marks. The reason your rank is so important is because the student with the highest rank at the end of the course will receive the highest marked HSC exam score from that class or cohort as their moderated assessment mark, regardless if that was their own mark or not. This is the reward for the efforts throughout the course and means if you do not perform at your absolute best in the HSC exam, but another member of your class does, it will lift your final HSC exam mark above where it would otherwise have been. Likewise, if a student is ranked at the bottom of the course, their moderated assessment mark will come from the student who received the lowest exam mark. As you know, English is compulsory and will count towards your ATAR, which is then calculated by taking your best 10 units, including English, and could mean that if you are carrying 12 or 13 units by the end of Year 12, one course or subject will not be used to calculate your ATAR. The majority of students will drop a course at the end of Year 11 that they are not performing well in or ranked lowest in. Before this decision is made, please see me to ensure that you are making the correct choice.
If you have 11 units going into the HSC, it may mean that your lowest contributing course will only count for 1 unit of the 10 rather than 2. It is important to choose subjects that give a good balance to your interests. For example, if writing is your strength, then perhaps advanced English and some HSC or HSIE courses would appeal to you, as many of these involve extended responses and play to your strength. If mathematics is your strength, then speaking to Ms. Giles about the correct course and looking at subjects such as physics or chemistry would align well. Choose courses that you are recommended for and those that you have the best chance of performing well in.
Thank you again for your time this evening. Should you have any further questions about the ATAR and how it works, please contact me directly. I'll now hand you over to our Acting Careers and Transitions Coordinator, Mr. Andrew Perfilio.
Thank you, Mr. Bullock. Good evening. My name is Andrew Profilio and I am the Head of Transitions and Pathways for 2025.
The decision about courses and careers and your future can feel pretty daunting, especially when you're sitting down to make your subject selections. But what we are really doing here is preparing you for that world that exists well beyond the gates of St. Greg's. And as you've probably already heard, that it's definitely a rapidly changing world. At St. Greg's, we invest a lot of time and energy into helping you become the best version of yourself. And we look at things like intellectually, physically, socially, and emotionally. One of the key frameworks that we use here at St. Greg's is the Agile Graduate Model. Your commitment to these community service opportunities also go a long way in applications for employment or scholarship opportunities when they arrive. Other opportunities that really change and guide you moving forward are things like our lunchtime career sessions. This year we introduced them. They're short, sharp sessions where different organisations have come to the college to speak to you. If you've come along this year, that's great. If not, there'll definitely be more opportunities next year, and I really encourage you to keep showing up, come to all the sessions, and see if you can get some information. You may get something very different when you attend Year 10 to Year 11, and you'd hear a very different message if you're Year 12 making that decision just a few months' time. Next year, we will run the College Careers Expo again, which brings universities, TAFEs, employers, different training providers here to the college. We encourage you and your families to also attend, and you get an opportunity to explore what's out there. University experience is also, it's never too early for you to engage yourself and see what universities have to offer. There will be a range of university open days that are actually taking place this weekend and the next few months coming up. You do not want to wait until Year 12 to make that first visit to a university campus to see what they're like. I genuinely encourage you to start having a look now. Make sure you have a look again in Year 11 so that when it comes to Year 12, you've got a really good idea of what's going to interest you. And then you're finalizing maybe 1 or 2 different course options or 1 or 2 different campuses because you've spent your time in Year 10, Year 11, getting out there to see what's there. There will be other opportunities organised with the college as well when it comes to university experience. One that we often get students very interested and very popular to attend is the University of Wollongong University Experience Day, where you get to head down to the campus for a day, live the life of a uni student. You get a real taste of the campus and you see what it's like, sit on a lecture, talk to current students, and you really start to imagine yourself in that kind of an environment. So that will take place when you're in Year 11. There'll be an opportunity in Year 12 mainly. Some of you boys have already taken part in the micro-credential courses that we offer here at the college. This year, a lot of boys in Year 10 did the white card course and some first aid opportunities. Next year, you'll get the full offering, which includes RSA, RCG, barista training. And if you haven't done your first aid or white card yet, you can definitely have that opportunity next year. And these are great micro-credential courses that give you the opportunity to get some casual work whilst at school or set you up for work in hospitality or retail. Work placement is something that takes place in regards to a vet course that you may choose. And the great reason why I talk about vet placement there is a lot of our students will gain employment from that. So if you're sitting a vet course, it's mandatory that you do some work placement hours. This is work placement, not just work experience. And it gets you out into the industry attached to that framework that you're studying, be it primary industries, fitness, or construction. And our students do get offered employment from their engagement in work placement. The transitions and pathways, which is a main part of my role here at the college. So for those of you that are considering leaving the college in year 10, that transition support really kicks in from term 3 into term 4. So if you're unsure at this stage, that's completely fine. I still encourage you to select your subjects. We'll make note that if you may be leaving and you really want to make sure you have a pattern of study. So if you do stay, you're going to have a pattern of study that will suit you. But if you do then decide to leave, then I'll work closely with you on more of that personalized transition plan to make sure that you've got a clear path and a clear plan for what's next in your time after being here at St. Greg's. At St. Greg's, your son will be offered the opportunity to study a TVET course. TVET stands for TAFE, Delivered Vocational Education and Training. It's a way for students to study a TVET course or a VET course through TAFE while still attending Year 11 and Year 12. As mentioned previously, the college does offer a range of VET courses in primary industries, construction, fitness, business services, and hospitality. If these courses interest you, then you apply for these courses just like all other subjects at St. Greg's, and Mrs. Molly Clark is the head of VET at St. Greg's. However, if there is a course that you are interested in that is not offered at the college, I encourage you to access the TVET guide on the subject selection website and investigate if there is a course which interests you. If a TVET course does interest you, once you've had a look at the guide, I'll meet with you and we'll discuss the course. And then we need to check which TAFE campus is offering the course. And then you need to complete an expression of interest form. And this form will be signed by the student and by their family also. Some courses have additional requirements, like the electrotechnology course, which includes a mathematics placement quiz. Applications and expressions of interest are due by the end of term 3, and they usually confirm offers in the course by late term 4. We need to keep in mind that some of these courses are quite competitive to get into. Currently at the college, we have 20 students in Year 11 and Year 12 that are completing a TVET course, and they study a range of courses from automotive through to real estate. They attend TAFE one afternoon a week. So they miss between 3 to 4 periods per week, depending where the location of their campus is. The college organises transportation from school to Campbelltown train station, or if it's a course at Campbelltown TAFE, we drop them straight to Campbelltown TAFE. A TVET student is required to be organised because they are then expected to catch up on all work that they miss. Some students will miss 4 periods every Tuesday. That's 8 periods a fortnight that they need to be committed to their studies, determined and organised to complete all work that they miss whilst they are not at school. TVET courses also include a mandatory work placement of 35 hours for each year of study. Each TAFE course will also have an additional cost involved, and these costs vary depending on the level of qualification in the course that you are doing. University applications have changed a lot in recent years. The traditional method still exists through UAC, where students apply, list their course preferences for their different universities, and then universities make an offer based off their Year 12 ATAR results. UAC applications open in May of their Year 12 year, and most offers are made by late December. However, early entry programs have become increasingly popular. Each university runs its own scheme, and they are all different. Some require interviews, others will ask you to answer questions or sit additional tests. Most early entry offers are conditional, which means that they still require you to maintain a strong result. Even if you receive an offer, your Year 12 exams will definitely still matter. Some programs require you to meet the minimum marks to maintain or to keep that offer. Many schemes will consider your Year 11 results. One example of that is Western Sydney University's True Rewards program, which makes an offer based off your Year 11 and mid-course grades. So make sure that you are in the right courses, make sure you're working hard and you're staying engaged, because your results across Year 11 and Year 12 will matter. That note, I want to add, it's not just about university as well for your Year 11 results. And for those that are seeking a position at a university, there are a lot of post-Year 12 apprenticeship programs that want to see your Year 11 results and want to see your commitment to studies across Year 11 and Year 12. Large companies like Sydney Trains will ask to see your Year 11 and your Year 12 results in their application process. In fact, we have students this week that are applying for the Sydney Trains apprenticeship program, and their Year 11 math results in particular will affect whether they get an offer to make it through to the next round of interviews.
Now, there are many different opportunities that will be made available to you over your next couple of years at St. Greg's. My role for the next term and a bit is to work with you if you are looking at TVET or SBAT or opportunities along that path. My job is to help you figure out which path is the best for you, make sure that you're supported along the way in that journey. All I can say is I want you to keep showing up, keep asking the great questions, and most importantly, make sure you're working hard towards what the best part of your future looks for you.
Thank you, Mr. Profilio. Now for our final session of the evening, I'll consider some of the details of the recommendation system. I'll provide some advice about course choices and give you a better sense of what to expect during the different key events of the course selection. Earlier this evening, Mr. Duggan spoke about the recommendation system. It is our hope that the recommendation system helps guide students in their course choices. Evidence tells us that one of the most significant factors for success in Stage 6 in the HSC is students choosing the right pattern of study and courses for them. If we get this wrong, the student is stuck studying courses they will struggle with and in which they will find it difficult to experience success. Let's turn our attention to students choosing an HSC Plus pattern of study. For students attempting an HSC Plus pattern, their goal isn't to go to university, so they only need to attempt 3 board-developed courses. From our experience, if a student received a GPS of less than 2.5 in their Year 10 report, our recommendation is that they should follow an HSC Plus pattern. Even if a student had a GPA of between 2.5 and 3, they should perhaps also consider this pattern of study. The reason for this recommendation is that these students will find many of the ATAR courses challenging. Moreover, for students who don't plan on going to university or who aren't really sure if they want to or not, they will find it increasingly difficult to stay focused and committed to the hours of study each night that is required, particularly if they haven't been doing so in Year 10. Here is the list of courses we recommend for students who decide on an HSC Plus pattern. Students will need to choose at least 3 courses from the first 2 columns, including English Studies. These are board-developed courses. They will choose Studies in Catholic Thought, a 1-unit course, and the remainder of the courses from column 3. These are content-endorsed courses. Let me make this point clear though. If you opt for an HSC Plus pattern, you will only be able to study courses on this list. If you wish to study any of the ATAR courses not on this list, you will need to complete a recommendation form. One of the benefits of studying HSC Plus is that you might also be able to avoid having to sit for any HSC examinations at all. The highlighted courses on this list have a voluntary HSC exam or no HSC exam component. If the student studied English Studies, Studies in Catholic Thought, Mathematics Standard Trades, a VET course, and other courses in the third column, they would have no HSC exams. If they do choose to study agriculture or industrial technology, for example, they would still have an HSC exam just in these courses. Particularly for any students planning on an SBAT or TVET course, we would recommend this pathway. You will be missing possibly 1 to 2 days of school per week, and you don't want to be attempting to catch up on work missed in too many ATAR courses. What if I'm not sure about an HSC Plus pathway? If you think you might be better suited to an HSC Plus pattern of study, but you don't want to rule out getting an ATAR, there is an HSC Plus pattern that you can still take. It involves studying 5 board-developed courses. For instance, if you studied English Studies, Mathematics Standard, 2 VET courses, Industrial Technology, and Studies in Catholic Thought, you would still qualify for an ATAR if you did the non-compulsory HSC exams. Your ATAR would not be a strong one, but for a growing number of university courses, you only need to get an ATAR to qualify for these courses. At the other end of the spectrum, we also make recommendations about academically challenging courses. This is because these courses have a high degree of difficulty and are much more challenging in most cases than Stage 5 courses. Our recommendation system seeks to ensure that students who choose these courses will have every chance of success because they have the prerequisite ability and knowledge to manage these courses. Even students attempting the highest level of mathematics in Year 10, for instance, will find physics difficult. This is also the case for advanced and extension mathematics. English advanced and extension are tougher than Year 10 English. Students are competing against the most intelligent and hardworking students in the state, and if they have not demonstrated the work ethic or the ability in Year 10 to achieve top grades, they will find it difficult to compete in Stage 6. While we want our top students to engage in these courses, and these courses are rewarding in terms of ATAR results, it is better and more achievable for students who have not yet demonstrated their ability or diligence to succeed in other ATAR courses. It is true that some of the sandstone universities still have prerequisites for specific courses. However, this is becoming less and less the case. So it is important for students to do their research before attempting courses against the recommendations that we set out. In many cases, even if students do a prerequisite course, don't do a prerequisite course, they can do a bridging course at the beginning of university. There are also now so many more pathways to university courses. As always, our advice is for you to do your research and to study the courses that are right for you and that you have demonstrated an ability in. So, what if you want to do a course that isn't recommended for you? You'll need to follow this process if you want to study something outside the recommendations. Firstly, you will need to complete a recommendation variation form. In this form, you will provide a reason for the request and relevant information. This will then be submitted to me via Student Services. This form should be submitted at the latest by the 21st of August. Forms will not be considered after this date. A form should be submitted even if the student places the course on their reserve list. If a form has not been submitted, the course won't be available on the digital subject selection form. If you are close to achieving the grade, or perhaps there was a specific reason why your grade was not as strong this semester, the head of department may approve you to study the course. If not, the next step is for parents and carers to indicate that they want their son to do the course anyway. We will make you aware of the possible consequences of choosing the course against recommendation. We will also then give the student conditional enrolment in the course. We will monitor their progress. While it may not be always possible for students if we will help them to move out of the course if they are finding it difficult in Year 11. While we want to give students every chance to prove that they can succeed, even if a course or pathway was not recommended, we are only too aware and see each year the consequences of students choosing poorly. Sometimes, no amount of tutoring or extra work by the student and their teachers will enable success in a course. The converse of this is that we have seen students who have remarkable success in other courses. They have then gained a good ATAR, completing a bridging course at university if it is even necessary. For those students considering vocational education and training courses, we would recommend a maximum of 2 courses only. These courses require 1 week of work placement per year in most cases. The first week is usually done in term, but there is sometimes an expectation for you to complete the other work placement during your holidays. It is also recommended that students attempt a maximum of 2 courses with major works. The requirements of completing tasks outside of school hours for these works becomes difficult to manage if students are doing more than 2. These courses include visual arts, industrial technology, design and technology, society and culture, and music. For students doing an ATAR pattern of study, it is recommended that they attempt board-developed courses. Choosing content-endorsed courses, for instance SLR or photography, will mean that you have to drop that course for the HSC at the end of Year 11, and you will not have a choice in dropping anything else. Speak to your interviewer if you require any information further about these recommendations. There is also a pathway for students who would like to study a language or another course not offered by the school. The college will forward your application to the School of Languages or Distance Education. For each of these options, there are extra costs involved. The process is that students follow the normal course selection procedures. If the external course is approved, you will be taken out of one of your school courses early in 2026. If you would like to study a language or external course, pick up an external courses expression of interest form at the Expo next week. Return this form to Student Services by week 6 Wednesday. You will be forwarded an application which will need to be completed and returned by Friday week 8. If you are interested in an SBAT or TVET, see Mr. Profilio and submit an expression of interest there. Let's look at the key events in our course selection process. The college will host the Expo next Wednesday night, 30th of July at 6:30 p.m. The event will be held in the Brother Luke Hall. There will be stalls where heads of department will have displays for each of their courses. This will be an excellent chance for you to speak to teachers and ask questions about the courses on offer. This event is compulsory. Students should be dressed in winter uniform and they should bring their workbooks. Course selection interviews will take place in weeks 4 and 5 between the 11th and the 22nd of August. These are an essential part of the selection process. Students will bring their completed interview planner listing their proposed courses and reserves. During a 15-minute online interview, one of the interview team will discuss these options with you. They will offer their insights about the courses you have selected, and you'll have the chance to check to make sure that you have a coherent and valid set of subjects that will satisfy HSC requirements. They will also be able to advise you if your son wants to attempt a course or a pattern that was not recommended for them. For students planning on leaving the college, this will be the first step in the transition process, and you'll be able to discuss the next steps in the school preparing your son for the workforce. The name of your interviewer has already been sent to you in the course recommendation letter that you will have just received. You will book the interview at a time convenient to you using the same interview booking system that we use for the parent-teacher interviews. We will send you the interview link details the day after the expo. You'll be able to book between 4 and 8:30 p.m. on most nights of the 2-week period. The closing date for booking an interview is 9 a.m. Thursday, 7th of August. You will be sent a Teams meeting link on the emails that you nominate on the interview system. For boarding families, a 3-way interview might be ideal. Please only make an interview with one person using the booking interview system. If you would like to speak to one of the other team members, it would be better if you contact them directly. Again, these interviews are compulsory. The deadline for course submission is Wednesday, 27th of August at 8:45 a.m. Students will have an individualised link emailed to them in week 4. Students will only be able to submit their courses through this link and no paper submissions will be accepted. I would recommend that families complete this online course selection process together. The boarding team will work with our boarders. You should only submit your form once you have completed your interview. Each student will be emailed their own unique link. When you log in, please make sure that your student details are correct. Students are advised not to send another student their link. You'll be asked whether you are completing an HSC Plus or an ATAR pattern of study. In the Preferences selection page, you will select your courses. Preference 1 will be for religious education. Preference 2 will be for English courses. Preferences 3 to 7 will be for your main preferences. There are also 3 reserves. You must fill in all of these to progress. You will only be able to select courses that are recommended for you. If you choose HSC Plus, you will only be able to select the courses listed earlier. Finally, you will need to provide a digital signature by typing your name on the authentication page. Once this is done, you should save a copy of your selection receipt. Print this off either at home or at school. You will be able to complete this process up to 5 times if you change your mind during the week. The second part of the process is to hand in the selection receipt printed and the parent-carer permission form. This is to be handed to your homeroom teacher. You can hand your form in to your homeroom teacher earlier if you wish, and it's always a good idea to hand the forms in early, but there is no advantage to submitting your forms early. Your forms must be completed and submitted at the latest by homeroom on Wednesday, the 27th of August at 8:45 a.m. If you are away on that day, make sure that the digital selection has been completed and submit your forms to your homeroom teacher when you get back to school. I'd advise against leaving things to the last minute. Students should complete this process by at least the night before to avoid any internet or other delays that might push them past the deadline. Any students who don't complete the process by 8:45 a.m. will go to the back of the line and may not get their preferences. Let's explore the important guidelines for the course selection process. Each year, the college uses student preferences to create a timetable from scratch so that the highest number of students can receive their highest preferences. Moreover, we will attempt to give you your courses in the order that you put them in your preferences. For instance, if you place mathematics as your 4th preference and it is on the same line as geography, which you placed as your 3rd preference, we will give you geography instead of maths. Therefore, student preferences in the course selection are important and you should place your courses in the order of their importance. Why do we ask you to nominate 3 reserve courses? We go to a lot of effort in our system by offering students a large range of courses and allowing them to pick which courses as a group they are most interested in. However, like all other schools, we can't just run all the courses that have been selected. Courses not selected by many students can't be run. We do our best to offer as many courses as we can, and Greg's offers some classes with smaller class sizes than any other schools in the area, but there are always limits. This is why we ask students to nominate reserved subjects. We endeavour to give all students their highest preferences, but sometimes classes don't get enough students to run, or two of the students' choices are on the same line. This will mean that a significant number of students will receive at least one of their reserved courses. My advice is for students to research their reserved subjects well and be willing to study any of them. The other thing to be aware of is that there are maximum class sizes. 24 students is the usual maximum, but it may be less for some VET courses. There are often situations when a class is full, but there are not enough students to offer a second class. In this case, HSC Plus students are preferenced in HSC Plus courses. We will preference students who attended all of the sessions, including this session, the expo next week, the interviews, and students who submitted their paper forms on time. We will also preference students in terms of how high their subject was listed in their preferences. Finally, decisions are then made based on merit, which is based on the semester one report, considering both effort and performance. Final offers will be made in Term 4, Week 4. Students will receive a list of their courses and the lines. In my experience, at a number of schools, usually over 50% of students receive exactly the preferences they listed. Another large proportion will receive most of their preferences with one or two reserves. We offer lots of courses, and different courses get up each year depending on the interest in that year group. However, usually only 2/3 of the courses we offer will run. Some courses don't get enough preferences to run, and each time we run multiple classes in a course, it means that we can offer one less course overall. Each year, there are a few students who may need to select another subject at this time. Sometimes they have chosen multiple courses that did not run. Sometimes several of their courses have clashed on a line. If this happens, we will work with your son to pick another course. When the final offers are made, the college will not be able to change courses or lines or adjust the subjects running. Any change to the timetable at that stage would mean that more students will miss out on courses because our system's algorithms attempt to give the most students their highest priority, and more students would miss out if we did this. We also have a provision for course changes. Students have a cooling off period between the final offers and the opening of the course change process. Students can change courses between week 7, term 4 and Friday, week 2 of 2026. This gives students a chance to change their minds or change a course if it is not exactly what they expected next year. After this, they are locked into these courses, although they can change levels in English and Maths, until the end of Year 11, when they can drop one course. Students will not be able to change into a course if it is full, or to change out of a course if it becomes too small to run. As students prepare to select courses, it is important for them to familiarise themselves with all the documentation and ask plenty of questions so that they have a good understanding of the process. They should spend time discussing their possibilities for the future with their families. By the end of the process, students should have a clear idea of which pathway they will take and should have taken time researching a broader range of subjects. One of the most important resources is our webpage. I sent all families a link to this website at the end of last term, so I am hoping you have had a chance to have a look at it already. The website contains videos for each of the courses, all documents for the process, and information about each of the steps along the way. It is a one-stop shop for course selection. There are a range of other resources that will also be important. Your son has been given a workbook that they are completing during PC classes over the next 4 weeks. Next week at the Expo, we will also give you the chance to pick up a course summary booklet that has information for all of the courses offered, a course selection planner, parent acknowledgement form, and a range of other materials from NESA and Careers. Course change forms will be available later in Term 4 from Student Services. I would like to end this evening by thanking you for your attendance. We appreciate your continued support. Course selection is one of the most important things that your son will do this year, but placing your son in the right courses is also very important to us. Please complete the attendance form by scanning the QR code on the next slide. Can I also remind you about our Expo next Wednesday night? And please remember to book an interview for weeks 4 and 5. Again, if you need any support during this process, students can speak to their homeroom teachers who have a wealth of knowledge. Please also contact Mr. Duggan for general inquiries and heads of department for specific questions. Mr. Profilio is available for careers advice, and please also drop me a line if I can assist in any way. Again, we wish you all the best in this process, and we will see you next Wednesday night. Have a fantastic evening.